is Geek Therapy Radio.
What are we waiting for?
And now your mental curator, Johnny Hamburger.
Welcome to this edition of Midweek Geek here on Geek Therapy Radio. This is the podcast-only version of the radio show. There's no segments in here. There's no breakup of topics. It's just basically, usually Midweek Geek is one topic for the duration of the podcast. And for those that are watching on YouTube, yes, I have notes here. I'm going to go over a list of things. This isn't some really slick jump cutty type video. This is long format. This is radio. This is a podcast. My main show, Geek Therapy Radio, does air over the weekend here on KPRC 950, so this is long format. You may not be used to seeing a bunch of people on YouTube holding up notes, but just remember, this is a radio show first, podcast second, YouTube third. Doing my best here. So with that long format in mind, let's get into it. This edition of Midweek Geek has to do with deaths from taking selfies. Not that the selfie causes the death, like taking the camera makes you die, but people risking their lives doing stupid things to get the selfie, and they wind up dying. I have redacted the names and specific places for this list here because just out of respect for the families. You know, the people who have died taking these selfies, they're already dead. You don't really have to worry about them anymore, but their families are grieving. And I say that to say this. I thought about putting the Benny Hill music underneath all of this. But I thought that would be disrespectful, regardless of taking their names out and regardless of taking specific locations out. The fact of the matter is that, yes, while these people who took the selfies were doing something very stupid, and I'm sure some of you listening or watching this video on YouTube might be thinking, yeah, the Benny Hill music would have been great here. Fact remains that their families are now without their loved ones. So people are actually still grieving over these, albeit, call it stupid deaths. They knew this was risky. They knew what they were getting into. And they died anyways, doing something they knew was dangerous, especially the ones who were driving. Oh my goodness. And this is a list of like 22 or so, I forget the exact count, 22 or so instances of deaths occurring from selfies. It's not 22 deaths, as you'll see when I go through this list. It's more than 22 deaths, because in some cases, 7 people die trying to take a selfie. I had no idea, and the reason why I'm making this episode is that I think there's people like me who occasionally heard that people die taking selfies. And it was always just kind of this one-off thing in the news. Somebody dies falling off a cliff trying to take a selfie. Doing the research for this show, I got like 20 cases here. There's hundreds, if not thousands of cases of people dying trying to take the perfect selfie. In India, it's such an epidemic that in Mumbai, they've quarantined off places where they've made it illegal to take selfies in certain locations because, as you'll see through this list, India has a virtual epidemic of people dying trying to take selfies. So without further ado, let's get into the list. No Benny Hill music. Play in the back of your mind if you want, but I'm not going to do it here in this video. Tempted as I may to do this because you'll hear some of these are very silly. Let's get into it. First one, May 2018, a man in India dies taking a selfie with an injured bear. The bear was later treated for its injuries. So a guy sees an injured bear, says, I'm going to go take a selfie with this big-ass wild animal, and the bear had some life in him. And now the man is no longer with us, and I think hopefully the bear's recovered. But moving on, 2016, a man in Washington State fatally shot himself in the face trying to take a selfie. He thought the gun was unloaded. Apparently in this story, it was a couple, and the guy had taken multiple selfies throughout the day with this gun, and at some point throughout the day, he loaded it again, forgot that he loaded it again, took a selfie with it, shot himself in the face. Don't mess around with guns, period. Assume every gun is loaded and the safety is off. Don't take selfies with guns, you idiots. Sorry, that was not respectful. Whatever, I'll leave it at that. 2000 whatever, Japanese tourist at the Taj Mahal tried to use a selfie stick and fell down a bunch of steps. He died in the hospital later from head injuries. So he didn't die on the scene, but he sustained massive cranial bleeding and swelling, and he died. Man, goodness. 2000 whatever, a 19-year-old Houston man accidentally shoots himself posing with a gun. Not much more I can say about that, although the story does say that he was about to start college that same month. So why he was about to start college and then at the same time was just being a little hooligan, trying to take selfies with a gun. Like, you got your life on track, man. Why are you taking selfies with a gun? You start school in a couple weeks. Shot himself in the face trying to take a selfie with a gun. 2018, a man in eastern China falls 100 feet to his death at a waterfall. He was found with a phone and a selfie stick in the ravine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. 2014. Okay, 2000 whatever. A Polish medical student falls off a bridge. 2014. A pilot in Colorado kills himself and his passenger while they were both taking selfies and texting while flying a Cessna, a small single-engine airplane. Pilot and passenger taking selfies and texting while flying an aircraft. Maybe that one deserved a Benny Hill soundtrack underneath it. Anyways, 2014. 14-year-old in the Philippines falls to her death down multiple flights of stairs. That's sad. You know what? A lot of these are kids, and they're just... I wouldn't even say a lot of them are in dangerous places. Some of these are not in dangerous places. They're just... No one thinks they're going to fall downstairs, and she wound up slipping, I guess. She's checking her phone after she takes her selfie and slips and falls down flights of stairs. She died of her injuries. 2000 whatever, 3 students in India tried to take a daredevil selfie. Apparently that's a thing, daredevil selfies. 3 students in India tried to take daredevil selfie in front of a moving train, and well, the train did not give way to their safety. Let's just say 3 students gone, blink of an eye, trying to take a daredevil selfie. Youth. 2000 whatever. A Russian woman falls off a bridge. Falling off a bridge seems to be kind of a common thread among a lot of these selfie deaths. Russian woman falls off a bridge. 2015, 18-year-old engages in selfie Olympics. What the hell is that? Selfie Olympics, and then hits his head on his mom's bathroom toilet. He hit his head and bled to death. So instead of coming up with a flux capacitor like Doc Brown, this guy, was he 18 years old? 18 years old, an adult man, hit his head on the toilet and died. No invention to come of it. No time travel. 2015, a Romanian girl, oh my gosh. 2015, a Romanian girl climbs on top of an electric train to take a Facebook selfie. When she kicked her leg up, she touched the overhead cable and she was barbecued with 27,000 volts. You think that's a rare occurrence? Oh, just wait for long. Let's wait down this list. 2000 whatever, Polish couple. This one is sad, and this is why I didn't want to play the Benny Hill music under these. Polish couple visiting Portugal crossed a safety barrier to take a selfie and wound up falling to their deaths in front of their 5- and 6-year-old kids. That's just sad. Those kids didn't deserve to see their parents die trying to take a risky selfie. They went across... That's not very good parenting to begin with. They crossed a safety barrier to get the selfie, and they fell to their deaths, and now their kids have no parents. Horrible. 2000 whatever, 21-year-old man in Spain barbecues himself on top of an electric train. Again, just like the Romanian girl, the guy gets on top of an electric train. What are you thinking? And gets zapped to death by the electric cable hanging up on top of the train. Above the train. 2000 whatever, a man in Mexico City gets really drunk and then tries to take a selfie with a gun, and well, it goes off. There's a lot of gun selfie deaths here too. 2000 whatever, British man flies 8,000 miles to meet his online girlfriend in South Africa. On their first freaking date, he watches her fall off a cliff while she tried to get the perfect selfie. So you fly 8,000 miles, you meet the girl who you've been online dating. First date, falls off a cliff trying to take a selfie. Horrible. 2014, a woman takes a selfie in her car and hits a truck head on. Of course, stop messing around with your phones in the car. 2000 whatever, 17-year-old girl takes a selfie on a bridge. This one's, okay, listen to this one. A 17-year-old girl takes a selfie on a bridge and falls off the bridge. She tries to break her fall by grabbing a live electrical wire. She electrocutes herself. I don't mean to laugh. She electrocutes herself on the way down. That is some Wile E. Coyote type stuff. I think this girl crawled up the scaffolding of the bridge. She was where she was not supposed to be. It's not like she was just standing there on the bridge and tripped and fell over the railing. She was where she wasn't supposed to be. Tried to break her fall, grabbing onto a power line on the way down. And wow, maybe at least she wouldn't feel the impact of the ground, I guess. I don't know. 2014, a 15-year-old boy dies challenging a train, taking a selfie. Again, one of these daredevil selfies. He steps in front of a train to take the picture of himself before the oncoming train hits him. And guess who won that little encounter? The train did. The train. For those keeping score. The 15-year-old was hit by the train. He died. 2000 whatever, a man in New York tries taking a selfie on his motorcycle. Do I need to finish this one? Trying to take a selfie on a motorcycle and slams into oncoming traffic. Let me take a little side note here, because I like to ride motorcycles from time to time. A lot of bikers, a lot of motorcycle enthusiasts, motorcycle geeks, love to blame the cagers, the four-wheelers, the people in cars. They say the cars should be paying attention. The cars should see us. Yes, they should. But I'm telling you, as someone who rides a motorcycle, that is a toxic mentality. To put the blame on somebody else. You need to take 100% responsibility for your own life on the motorcycle, knowing and assuming that nobody can see you. You are a cockroach in an elephant stampede. If the cockroach gets squashed by the elephant, whose fault is that? Well, yeah, it's a little bit the people in the car's fault, but you have to be assuming on the bike that no one sees you. Assume you're invisible. Don't be taking selfies. The end of that story is the guy slams into oncoming traffic. Taking a selfie on a motorcycle, drifts across lanes, slams into oncoming traffic. 2000 whatever, 2 Russian men take a selfie with a grenade, and well, the phone survived. We got the selfie off the phone. The 2 men did not. Should I spell that out? They did not survive. With a grenade! They pulled the pin from the grenade. Selfie, click, boom. My goodness, at least I didn't feel anything. 2000 whatever, 7 men in India stand on the side of a boat to take a selfie. It tipped over and they all drowned. All of them drowned. 2000 whatever, an Indian college student falls from a 60-foot cliff. Lots of people falling off cliffs taking selfies. I hate cliffs. I hate heights. I hate unrestrained heights. 2000 whatever, 2 Indian men drown after falling into a canal after taking a selfie. Why India? Why do you have such a problem with this? 2016, 3 girls in India fall into the Arabian Sea. A man jumps in to help, and every single one of them drowned. So an innocent bystander, just trying to do some good, falls in the river, falls in the Arabian Sea, trying to save the girls who fell in. All of them drowned over a selfie. 2000 whatever, this is the last one. A man in Hong Kong falls 500 feet to his death trying to take a selfie on a cliff. So there we have it. How many stories was that? 20-something stories? Was it even 20-something stories? I don't know. Let that be a cautionary tale. What I am baffled as to why this is such an epidemic. I'm kind of at a loss for words. I'm thinking of myself walking up to the edge of a gorge, and the last thing in my mind is taking a selfie. What I like to do when I come up on a big tall cliff or something is I get down on my belly or all fours and I'll look over it like that. Like I'll stay like 2 or 3 feet away from it, or like 5 feet away from the edge, but I'll still be down on all fours. I freaking hate heights like that. I will jump out of an airplane with a parachute. I want to get my pilot's license. I don't fear being up high. I just fear being up high unrestrained and untethered. I hate that. Last thing I'm thinking is, let me go to the edge of this cliff and pop a selfie. Who cares? For one thing, and I've said this on my show, and I'll wrap it up with this, selfies are kind of silly because we know you're there at the beautiful thing. We want to see the beautiful thing. We know what you look like. We want to see the beautiful thing. And I know there's posterity. You got to take a picture of yourself there with the beautiful thing. I want to see. I know what you look like. I don't know what this particular part of the Grand Canyon looks like. Anyways, off my soapbox. Please be safe if you're taking selfies. Don't do anything risky to take a selfie. Please don't, my geeks. I understand we're all geeks about something. We're all enthusiastic about stuff, but don't put your life in danger. Think about your family. Think about your kids. Ask yourself, is this selfie worth your kids growing up without a parent? Not to be so dramatic, but there's other people are affected by your actions, believe it or not. Same thing, again, back to the biker thing. I don't wear a helmet because it's my own choice. Yeah, well, it's not your family's choice to feed you through a stomach tube after you bust your head open, okay? It's not my choice to go to your funeral after you decided stupidly not to wear a helmet or take a selfie on a motorcycle. It's not my choice to do that. So just think about your choices and that your actions have consequences, and don't try to take a selfie in front of a moving train or on a cliff. It's not worth it. Other than that, be good to each other, my geeks. The best way to be good to each other is to start by being good to yourself. Just take care of yourself. Engage in a new hobby, rekindle an old one, whatever. Listen to the show. Maybe you might find something I'm talking to that sparks an interest in something, sends you down a path of creation rather than a path of destruction. That's what Geek Therapy Radio is all about. I love you guys very much. If you're watching on YouTube, consider subscribing. Throw a like on there, whatever. Other than that, I guess I'll see you soon for Geek Therapy Radio. It comes out each Friday and airs each Sunday. So until then, take care, my geeks. I'll see you later. Quick 30 seconds here for Audi Central Houston. Guys, I've been a customer of Audi Central Houston since before they became sponsors of the show, so I can tell you with full authority, because it's my personal experience, that they will take such great care of you at Audi Central Houston. When you go to Audi Central Houston and see the GM Danny Posey, tell him you were sent there by Geek Therapy Radio, and then drool over all the Audis they have there, from the A3 to the R8. Audi Central Houston has you covered in any budget. AudiCentralHouston.com.